Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast, Wine Therapy. Tonight we're going to be drinking. I got it at Trader Joe's. I never really go to Trader Joe's, but when I do, I always get the pretty bottle of wine, which is really not like me to do, but it's always kind of fun. Sauvignon Republic is what it's called. It's an orange bottle. I thought it was pretty. And it's a Sauvignon Blanc, if you couldn't tell by the interesting name of it. And I will say it's pretty good. I will also be honest though, my first sip, I really didn't enjoy it, but I've already had a glass and it's just getting better. So I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 after being one glass in. It's very citrusy. Like I almost thought it was like an orange wine when I smelt it. And also because the label's orange. So I just put those two together. Anyways, welcome back to my podcast. I wanted to dedicate tonight's episode as a part 2 to one of my previous episodes on friendship breakups. That one is called Grieving My Ex-Best Friend Because She's Dead to Me. So tonight I kind of wanted to dive more into friendship breakups because I have been through many and they never get easier. And if I'm being honest, this morning I had a bit of a crash out over a friendship that is no longer in my life. Two of them actually. Because this morning I was like putting something, I have like a little box in my room, like right there. And I put like all these like kind of cute sentimental things in it, whether it's like a card or Polaroids, like things like that. Or like special pieces of jewelry that I have that are super old, like whatever, things like that that are all sentimental. We all have it as girls, like we all have a box. Anyways, I was putting something in it today, which was cute. And I went down the rabbit hole of looking through my box because I haven't in over a year. And one of them was a letter from one of my friends who is not in my life anymore, and I don't know why. And the other one was from my bestest friend of all time that I had, and she's no longer in my life either. So that was really rough. It was also like the first thing that happened to me this morning. So it just didn't really set a good tone for my day, especially on a Monday. But regardless, it kind of inspired me to talk about this subject in a little bit more depth and ways to process and share a few of my stories. First of all, for starters, I think that friendships don't have enough hype. By that, I mean, I think friendships, especially female friendships, I think are seen as kind of lighthearted, where it's like, oh, I'm going out with my girls for like brunch, like, girls' night. Like, I feel like it's not seen as with much depth, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas relationships are seen with a lot of depth. I think that there's a lot of pressure. Maybe it's societal, maybe it's people in your life, but there's just a lot of pressure in our lives to find a romantic partner and be in a romantic relationship and cater to that relationship and focus on that really and find someone and invest your time in it. And I think, I mean, that's probably just because society, it's in movies like rom-coms, like you go through a breakup and it's very traditional. Like it has the reputation of like when you go through a breakup, it's super harsh and you're super depressed and like you're crying, you're eating ice cream, like you're on the couch for weeks, you haven't showered. Like it's in movies, like it has a reputation of how difficult breakups are. Absolutely they are. I just released an episode on my 10-step recipe for surviving a breakup. Like trust me, I know that they're very hard, but I think that it's talked about so much that kind of people have an idea of what to do when this is happening, and people know it gets better. Friendship breakups, I think, just aren't talked about as much, and it makes it a lot more challenging to go through when you don't really know like what you're supposed to do. I think that friendships are often seen as replaceable. It's like if okay, like that friendship doesn't work out, it's like there's so many other girls. Like it's so easy for girls to make friends. Like go to the bathroom at a bar and like you'll make a girlfriend, Whereas again, for like a romantic partner, it's a lot more challenging. You go on all these dates, they don't work out, this and that. And I think because of that, nobody really understands how difficult it can be to go through losing a best friend. I would say that when you are signing up for a romantic relationship and like you're getting a boyfriend both of you are signing up for the possibility of it not working. And then you guys aren't in each other's lives anymore. And no matter what the situation, going into a relationship, like you will think about that. Like already decided that if this doesn't work out, like we do break up. That's what happens in relationships. It's either it works or we break up. Whereas friendships, you don't think that way. You think there's no reason why we wouldn't be friends in 3 years from now. What are you talking about? Like, I think you're going to meet my family, meet my children one day, be in my wedding. And when that doesn't work out, it's not something you ever really think about, especially when you're going into a friendship. I will say a lot of my friendships are very long lasting. I have my three best friends. I've known them my whole life. We basically grew up together. Of course, I have other friends. But when I say like my best friends, those are my core group. That's my core group right there. So I say I've had a lot of these friendship breakups, and that is very true. I have had like friend groups in high school that collapse and burn and don't work out, and it hurts. I also have friendship groups in college that didn't work out, and like that's okay. It still like stings a little because like I still care about those people and like hope they do well, but it's like a boundary I had to put up for myself anyways. But I've had also some pretty tough breakups with my closest and dearest friends that I thought would be the aunt to my children and in my wedding, and have basically been family to me. And I will say, I have always understood the value of friendship. Like I said earlier, I think that society kind of makes it seem like friendships are so easy to find. They're not. It's actually like extremely difficult to find best friends that are genuinely there for you and will kill for you. And so I'm super aware of that. I know how difficult it is to find friends, and I also like know how blessed I am to have the friends that I have in my life because they are amazing. That being said though, I don't let people in often because I have a lot of walls up. That being said, I when people do get through those walls and like do get into my life, they're family. I'll kill for them, I'll die for them, I'll do anything for them, and it's really difficult for them to do something for me to not be in contact with or not be friends with anymore, because once they're in, like, they are family. They're not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. So it takes a lot for that to be pushed out if that ever does happen, because I give a lot of attempts for my friends. I'll give people second chances only if you're in my small circle. Otherwise, I write you off and you're done if you're not. But within my close circle, like, I will never give up on you because I love you to death, right? So, obviously, in my last episode on this topic, I talked about one of my friends who did something that like totally was a betrayal, and just I haven't spoken to her since, right? But there's so many different types of friendship breakups, there's betrayal if it fizzles out. Like sometimes your friends ghost you. Like that's crazy concept. Sometimes we outgrow friendships, they change. Um anyways, what I'm trying to say is sometimes you get closure and sometimes you don't. And the question is, how do you move on without getting closure? How do you move on without an apology? How do you do it? Because these people are so close to you. I personally think friendship breakups are worse than a romantic partner breakup. It Just because you're never physically intimate with like the person doesn't mean you can't get super emotionally in depth with that person and close and vulnerable. And I think that comes so far with a female friendship. And like you go through everything together, you can be nothing but yourself. You can be the grossest version of yourself. Like you can say things you don't mean in front of them, and they wouldn't. They know you just as well as you know yourself. So all these questions, it's so confusing because like, how do you do it? I'm going to be super honest with you. I don't have an answer to that, but I can share my experiences. Another one of my close friends from college unfollowed me on Instagram after we graduated and ghosted me basically. So that sucked. Um, I was really hurt by that. I still don't really know what happened or why. And I read one of the letters she wrote me this morning, and it literally made me break down. But when it did happen, I didn't break down over it. It was kind of like, huh, like, okay, like I just have it so wired in my brain that like things kind of fall apart with people. You outgrow people. But I look and I'm like, I didn't really outgrow this person. Like nothing happened. Like I don't think we outgrew each other. I think something happened that made her like choose to unfollow me and not see me anymore. And whatever that is, I don't want to know because that's going to hurt my feelings and make me really upset. And since then, I have just tried to come to terms with that. Like, obviously, she's not in my life anymore. It sucks. And like, part of me wants to know why, but also, what is that? What do I gain from that? Because whatever it is still going to hurt because clearly, like, she believed something about me that was bad enough that she doesn't like want to see my life anymore. And that means that she believed my character that she knows so well would do something that bad, which is hurtful to me that she knows me so well and she still would believe whatever she's been told or whatever happened if I did something. Um, yeah. And whatever, if I did something wrong, I would have wished she would like talk to me about it, but she already made up her mind. And so it's like, what is me knowing going to do? And so I've been working to come to terms with she's not in my life anymore. She was a great friend, but maybe she was just supposed to be a character in my life for a chapter. Maybe she's not supposed to be in my life forever, and that's okay. Cuz we change, we outgrow people. Maybe people outgrow us. Life goes on. I am very aware that I have amazing friends to fall back to, not back to, but I have amazing friends regardless that it's like, oh, what does that do for me? It's just like one other friend. Like I have three amazing friends. Like what does she add to my life? I'm aware that it sounds like that. And to be fair, it is kind of like that. Like I am very grateful. I have three amazing friends that will always be in my life. They're like sisters to me. But it becomes a self-respect thing. And I think that it's really hard to do. I have done it. I've been in the situation where I didn't really have my three best friends years and years ago in high school when like we weren't all super close yet. I mean, they were all in my life from a young age, but we didn't find our like group yet. And I had something happen to me and I left my entire friend group out of self-respect for myself because I knew that I deserved better friends than how they were treating me in a really tough time that I was in. And I chose to look like a fucking loser loner in high school and sit by myself instead of hang out with them. And I was okay with that because I knew I deserved better. And I think that's what's key with friendship breakups is you can want to reach out to them. You could see their life through social media and want to reach out and be like, "Oh, I'm so happy you got to go on this trip. Like, how was it? Like, hey dude, miss you. Like, hope you're doing well." It's so easy to want to do those things. But sometimes you have to look at their life. You're doing so well. I'm so glad. I miss you, but like I'm also doing okay. That it's like, what is this? What is this doing for either of us? Like neither one of us are going to gain from this. And I think it's about having self-respect where if somebody's not treating you the way you should be treated in a friendship, then you have to understand that you deserve better than that. And if that means you have no one to fall back to, that's okay. At least you have yourself. And you need to get through that. And that's something only you can do. That's the same thing that happened with my friend that totally betrayed me. I had, of course, outlets. I had great people to surround myself with, which was obviously super helpful. But what happened is something I had to go through alone. Like, even like, I didn't even think my therapist was helpful. It was something that I had to get through on my own. And I don't think I'm out of it. um, but like, will we ever? Because friendships are such a beautiful thing that even though like I should absolutely hate her guts now, I can still look back and be like, but she was the best friend, like ever, the bestest friend ever. And that it's like, you just have to reframe how you're looking at this like breakup situation where it's like, what what happened sucks, but sometimes you just have to smile that you got to know the person and have those memories that were so good and just move on and let go and move on with your life because you were blessed enough to like experience that with somebody and make those memories and have a friendship like that. but you have to let go and move on at the same time. You have to almost be grateful for it and then just it's next chapter. They were not supposed to be in your life forever. It's just a chapter of your life and you're on to the next one. I think that friendship breakups are like an extreme level of pain that is really, really not talked about enough. I think everyone talks about going through a breakup, this and that, like, oh, I miss him. It's not talked about enough about how difficult it is to lose your best friend. It can be confusing. It's probably the worst form of betrayal. Um, when they're so close to you, you see them as family, and then they do something that is just like unforgivable. And you would never think somebody like would that close to you and somebody like that would do something like that to you or just disappear out of your life without having a conversation like you meant nothing to them. It hurts. Let yourself feel that hurt for as long as you need before you reframe and remind yourself, okay, like I'm okay without them. That hurt. I don't know what happened. I'm so confused. Like, why did they change? Why did they even care about me in the first place? They did. Absolutely, they did. Focus on the happy times you guys had together. Focus on those memories and take that away from it and then move forward and choose to just remember the happiness. And if that doesn't work for you, you can always think about all the negative things about your friendship. This is so not healthy, but you can always think about the negative parts of your friendship and all the bad memories that you had together and move forward with that. Block out all the happiness that they gave you and move forward with feeling anger towards them. I will say that wears off. And soon enough, you'll go back to the healthier option of choosing the happiness over them, over the negative, and moving forward and letting go. But that's also something I can never do right away. I feel anger, hate, everything. And then I've just now been able to really focus on like the positive memories of our friendship rather than the betrayal or the negative aspects of our friendship. And I think that has brought me a lot of peace and helped me move on, which again, it's almost been a year now. So it does take a while for, for that to happen. And that's okay. It's just a confusing process. And unfortunately, we all go through it. It sucks. It never gets easier, literally never gets easier. But hang in there and keep looking for genuine friendships. I mean, I have a lot of trust issues, and that's in another one of my episodes called Not a Girl's Girl, if you resonate with that. But I have a lot of trust issues with females, and especially in female friendships, because I've been through a lot with um, some old friends. And it's made it really hard for me to let like friendships into my life. And that's something that I've been working on because I know it's so hard to find genuine friendships, but you will never know unless you try. And I think that's what's important. As always, please feel free to reach out if this hits home and like you're really going through it, because I have so much sympathy for anyone who has to experience a friendship breakup, which again is most likely everybody, because it hurts. It's a different type of hurt, but hopefully you can take something away from this because we've all been through it. You're never alone. People are out there who care about you. And all right. Thank you for listening to my podcast, Wine Therapy. I love you guys and cheers. Bye.